Hello, my name is Matt Deckard with the Chap magazine, and just wanted to go over a few things about, Goodyear welted shoes, modern makes, mistakes made by companies recently. For example, there's a couple beautiful brands well known in the USA. I'm sure you've heard of Edmonds or Alden. Not as much lately of Bostonian, which decided to redo some of their classic styles. They are a British-owned company run by Clark's. Clark's is well known for making these. It's called the Warby. I think of it as a birth control shoe. Suede with a bit of a gum sole there. Comfortable, classic. If you ever watched The Waltons, oddly enough, it's set in the Depression era. The lead, who plays John Boy, is wearing these all the time. Weren't around back then. I'm sure the actor loved them, but they're nice. But this is what Clarks are known for, the Wallaby. Now, in 2018, Clark's decided to bring back, after they bought out Bostonian, an American-made shoe. Good intentions, yes, and they did it with a last, which is a mold for a shoe, wooden mold, foot shape. A last that it was a very, World War II classic, but it was a 50s style, the number 16, which is what they wanted to bring back, with American cobblers making it. But they did it in two ways. They brought it back with versions made in India. Last is a wide 4-foot narrow heel. I love it. It gives me plenty of room in my toes. You'd see it at local malls, and you'd see the Indian made version. I'd put it on, slippery as hell, leather soled shoe. Comfortable though. It's got a lot of arch support. They put in a lot of new technology, foam for the arch support. I liked it. I'm just not keen on the 360-degree welts, which, again, most Goodyear welted shoes go for 360, when I myself think they should go with the 180, just have a tighter heel. I swing dance. I like to have a bit of a more maneuverability, and I think the narrow heel, wider forefoot gives you that maneuverability. This is the Indian version. They also released an American-made version in a wingtip, plain front, but also an ankle boot. Perhaps the heaviest ankle boot or dress shoe I've held in a long time. It's like an anchor, double thick leather sole. I think it's an oil-infused leather sole as well. Nice soft upper. It's a burgundy upper. It kind of looks like shell cordovan, but it's not. But just a burgundy upper. My problem with it again was they just made this very thick leather sole for a dress boot. You couldn't confuse it with dress shoes, but it looked very thick and heavy. But the price point they released it at was $600. It was above anything Edmonds or Alden was putting out at the time. The foot shape of it, very nice, wide in the front, narrow in the heel. My issue was the price point. And I think that was a mistake, but I think the mistake more so was to put these out in the 1950s, post-World War II, double thick, wide sole style, which was for the businessman, the banker who, after the war, got in the elevator, sat at his desk all day, versus something that was more maneuverable. This could have been a dress shoe. Instead, I'm not sure, is it a dress shoe, is it a boot? But when they released this as well, they also put it out at the same time as they released the same idea of a shoe, Indian make, for a quarter the price. So this was around $150, while this I know it's the ankle boot, but even the wingtip version was $600. This was just as comfortable, same fit, same exact last shape. I actually feel like the Indian-made versions were more comfortable. I wear my shoes, I beat them up, I test them all out. But that's just one of the things I feel was a mistake in their decision. I think they should have gone with something a little more tailored, and instead of putting out two of the same shoe onto the American market, one made in the USA, one made in India, what are you going to choose? You're making the same shoe in India and saying, here you go, it's, you know, a quarter of the price point. You're not going to sell the American made one. It's, you know, you're not even promoting it properly by tossing out there that you can buy the Indian version cheaper. So that was my biggest problem with when they released these. Now, when it comes to those, I've got a couple pairs that were sent my way. Yeah, packaging was beautiful. Bostonian is back, classic American made brand. Pop it open. There's the shoe. Looks fantastic. Does it look as good as Alan Edmonds out of the box from Alden? Or should I compare it to Red Wing? Which, to me, it's like, this is a dress shoe company. Is this a work boot? It's tough as a work boot. The leather is extremely soft. Not as durable as I'd like to be, very, very soft. Not something that's easily shinable either, oddly. But why put it out looking like a work boot as an American-made dress shoe product when your competition for American made is Alan Edmonds, who's been making a shoe that is a little more tailored looking for a dress shoe crowd. And in the middle of a world that doesn't wear dress shoes anymore, I love the leather sole, but putting something out American made at a price point that's $600 from a market that you've owned as Bostonian as a discount brand, suddenly jumping up there, either do or do not, but don't release a in-between version of the same thing made cheaper from around the country. That's my that's my take on Bostonian releasing their American-made brand of shoe, which they put out as something a little more comfortable than previous mix. They've got a lot of EVA foam inside helping the arch support. They're not uncomfortable. They're just just extremely heavy. Now on that same line, the same note, about the same time frame, Alan Edmonds put out something shape-wise a bit similar, called the Whitney. Now, I do love this shoe. It is very much, to me, if you look at 1930s and 40s ads before World War II, it's got that bit of a wider forefoot, tighter in the heel, the thing I like. I'm still not keen on the 360-degree welt. It always looks like the sole is not fitting well with the upper. Comfortable, but they built this on a platform where it's got an extra layer of rubber between the actual insole, which again has a layer of EVA foam. I wish they put Poron in there, but they released it as a comfort shoe for Alan Edmonds. It didn't last long. It had a different type of last. It had a last with that wider forefoot, narrow heel. And, you'd walk down the store, see it. It fits my foot very well. But it didn't last because I think they charged the price of what they were doing for the regular crafted dress shoes, but they didn't market the comfort very well. They also used a leather that wasn't the same as their traditional dress shoes. It wrinkles a bit more. Outside of that, if I'd love it even more if it just had straight leather on the sole, but to me it just wasn't danceable. And to resole it, I'm not sure how it works because it's not just a straight regular leather sole that's sewn on with a welt. It's got that layer of rubber between. So I think these are, I don't know, I think they could have been marketed better. I love this shoe. It's very comfortable. I could run around in it. It's got better arch support than most. I think it's the predecessor to what Wolf and Shepherd came out with when it comes to shoes that use more of sneaker technology in them rather than just, you know, leather footbed, cork, and then outsole. The cork would mold to your foot. With this, it's a couple different layers of foam. It's got the leather footbed there. It's got the cork and another layer of rubber and the leather sole. They're comfortable. Not a action shoe, but a walking shoe. But I do appreciate this last shape, and I wish that Allen Edmonds would use it more for their dress shoes. But ultimately, these two shoes came out about 2 years ago. Allen Edmonds, very comfortable, undersold. I've seen a lot of flaws with separation between that rubber layer and the leather. I wish more people had loved it. When it comes to Bostonian, I wish they'd focused more on that classic last from America. American made is fantastic. But instead of making a heavy weighted ankle boot, heavier than anything I'd ever seen, look more toward what was made in the 20s and 30s. I do like this, you know, heel shape that's kind of hugging the back of your, you know, ankle. It's nice, but when you add that double thick sole and extra wide heel, it just makes this an anchor on your foot. I'd like something I can maneuver in that's an ankle boot, that's not confused with work boot. Anywho, I'm Matt Deckard. I hope you like that. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.